I'm Britton LaRue, and this is Moon to Moon. Moon to Moon is a space to consider, celebrate, and share the ways we come home to ourselves, anchor through change, and uncover our power. 1 month, one phase, one loving step at a time. Dear Moon to Moon, it's Britton, and I'm recording this as my first ever recording while I have a new puppy. My life has just completely turned upside down, topsy-turvy, from what I knew it, how I knew it, and we're adjusting, we're creating a new routine, and we are solidifying the scaffolding around our new life together. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I've been learning from that, but it all feels deeply related to the message that I'm interested in bringing through my throat today, which is that our desires drive us towards initiation, and the initiations that our desires drive us into are how we know ourselves to be connected to the quest, to the devotional journey, to the soul-led experiences that I believe us to be really here for. And I've been profoundly moved to experience how what I've been wanting to focus on this year is being mirrored back to me through my process of finding and bringing home and creating scaffolding around the next canine companion of my life. You know, I'm in a major Mars return in this window of time because I get it 3 times. Usually when we're in a Mars return, it happens once every 2 years. And as a human who has Mars as a chart ruler, because I'm Aries rising, I find these Mars return windows to always be really enormous for pummeling me into experiences that clear distortions about my power, which, brings a whole lot of humility too, because it's we cling really tightly to what we think we have to have for our power. And so when we're pummeled into experiences of clearing distortions around that, it's very humbling because you have to kind of bend the knee a bit in order to get the medicine, My mystical path has helped me learn how to do this, but it still has spirals, It just goes at a fast speed. I see in myself that I can move through my spiralic experiences and my underworld journeys and my bending the knee learning experiences very rapidly, because I know what's happening to me and how to resource myself, which is all what I teach in my containers and what I contemplate here on Moon to Moon. That's really what this space is about, is supporting ourselves through spirals and cycles, month to month, moon to moon. So I'm sitting here. Visby is his name. Visby is in his crate taking a nap. If he wakes up and is wakeful, I will pause and pick it up later. We're rolling with this. Learning, humbling, the humility of reconfiguring your routine. To make space for what? To make space for your desire. To make fucking space for your desire. Like, one of the things that I've been feeling into so much with this puppy process, which was not a puppy process, it was a dog process. Because one of the things I was absolutely positive about going into this was I'm not getting a puppy. And here I am with a puppy. So that's part of what I'm learning that I want to speak to here. And ultimately, where I'm going to go with this, like, where is she going with this? Where am I going with this? I'm going into my announcement that the Magician's Table is returning for its 5th year now. It's Hierophant Year. I'm a Hierophant life human because my birth digits add up to 5. When you break, they add up to 32, and then 3 plus 2 is 5. So I'm a 5 human. And really pumped to be holding this updated frequency this year. It's teaching me in real time, and I am showing up with humility as I do to basically be reconfigured by the Magician's Table once again. Because if you've heard me talk about the Magician's Table, if you've participated in the Magician's Table, if you've been attuned to its promo over the years, or you've heard me talk about it, the experience of being the steward in one of my other spaces where I mentor people who serve their offerings, the Magician's Table came in as a clear curriculum very quickly. Like, I saw the structure, and then my job was to steward that into being, which I did. And starting with year 2, there was not gonna be just like, oh, we just do it like last year. Oh, I already know what I'm doing. I already have the structure, so all I gotta do is just show up to the structure again. No. Every year, the Magician's Table is a relationship in which I am invited to listen. I am made to listen. It is requested that I listen and that I tune into the emergent updates. And these updates are very relational, because it has to do with who's coming in to be my support team. In this case, I'm referring to who is going to be the 13th readers, which are the leadership positions within the Magician's Table, because those human beings and their frequencies invite an adaptation and a mutation to the being that is the Magician's Table. And then from those mutations, we are then able to magnetize, to constellate together around a shared frequency those humans who will be participating in the Magician's Table that year. Some fraction of those are usually alums. That's different every year. And then everyone else is coming in with a calling. They like feel the frequency. They sense the flare in the night. They hear the wolf howl and are responding to the invitation, following their desire, walking into initiation, guided by that desire that's driving them. And it's a process of reconfiguration, like reconfiguring yourself based on the desire that drove you into the initiation, and allowing the experience to reconfigure who you think you are and how you think you can show up here, and what you think that looks like with other human beings. Because then the community component is super instructive and humbling and expansive and terrifying all at the same time. Because then as you open your heart to being the you that's mutating in real time in front of these other humans, the kinds of friendships that can forge under such an initiation will be those that change your life. So it's a very mutating container that reconfigures you. And that's like the theme of the puppyhood is what I was seeing is that a desire. It all began with me naming, like a month and a half ago, oh, I really want another dog. And it just like came out of my mouth. And I didn't even consciously know I wanted another one. You may or may not know, listener, that my dear buddy passed away last summer in cancer season. After 10 years. And I had gotten him at age 2, and that worked great. So I was like, okay, I'm hearing this desire. And I texted Matt, like, oh my God, I just said out loud to myself that I really want another dog. And then within the hour, this person his friend who he has a lot of like psychic coincidences happen with, texted him a photo of this very wolf-like dog and was like, look at this dog I just saw. And so that was like this omen that we were just letting sit on the table of like this wolf dog. I forgot all about that. He just reminded me of this recently. So then in January, I mean, it still is January. Time is so weird right now. Whoa. Like at the very beginning of January, I woke up and I had this dream that I had this wolf companion, and that we were like super synced telepathically, and that we like were connected almost like one body. And I just woke up, I was like, oh my gosh, I had the coolest dog dream. It was like a wolf dog. And then I started the process of looking at rescues and being on the websites. If any of y'all have done this, it's like extremely time consuming. It starts to feel like when you're looking for a different place to live, like it's so consuming. Oh my gosh. And I started visiting places and like, oh my gosh, the boundaries and the emotional heaviness of like rescue energy, and just seeing all these different dogs, and like, I'm sure they're all wonderful, Any of these dogs, we could make it work, but like, where's my dog? Where's my dog? And like, really like holding to that, like holding to like, there's going to be a signal and I have to walk away if that signal's not there, Like, this is wild doing this in my 40s now with all that I've learned and all that I practice and all that I hold as a magical person, as a mystic and a witch. Like, I have these tools and these skills that were there under the surface in my younger years of looking for dogs. But now I embody them and I live them, and it's like a non-negotiable for me, you know? So, but so intense, because there were many dogs that like I genuinely felt really connected to. It could have been great. It's kind of like dating, you know? Like, well, probably could have married that person, you know? Or like, yeah, I could see the whole life. Like, there's the timeline. Like, what's amazing is the way timelines appear when you're dabbling with desire, you know? When you're dabbling with your desires, there's a timeline. Oh, there's a timeline. There's a timeline. Like, you can see the whole timeline. Like, this dog could come home and that would be our timeline. But like, which is the timeline that I want? Which is the timeline that I want? You know, do I trust myself to listen to the internal cues that signal it's this timeline? You know, talk about deciding means to cut away to clear the path that's for us. Whew, man. And so on the first day that I really like went to a bunch of places, and like really got in the spaces with dogs and like asked to see dogs and sat with them and talked to them and pet them. I saw this puppy and I was like, well, since I'm here, he's just so cute. Like, I'm just going to play with him a bit because that's fun. But I'm not getting a puppy. This has been decided. This is just for fun. I'm just doing this for fun because he's so cute. And I just like want to hang out with him. So he's got these bright blue eyes. They guess that he's part husky, part shepherd. I think he's something else too. I'm have my first vet today, so I'm gonna see if they have any guesses. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a DNA. Maybe it doesn't matter. I never knew with my last dog. It's not required for love, but it's interesting in terms of feeling into the dog's needs and instincts and things like that. We'll see. Feel free to contact me if you have thoughts on this. So I played with him. I took photos with him. And it was like, oh, too bad he's a puppy. Really, really loved that dog. And just left. Sent photos to Matt. And Matt was like, holy shit, look at him. And it was like, yeah, I know. Too bad he's a puppy. Okay. So all week I was like looking at his photos like, oh, too bad he's a puppy. You know, we have these like walls around what we think we know. And, okay, so then the next weekend, I went and looked at a dog. I went to look at another dog. I'm like driving all around North Texas to different ranches where people have these like large kennels and stuff. And I meet these great dogs, such wonderful dogs. And then I was like, you know, can we just go by Operation Kindness one more time? I just want to go see that one puppy. I think I'd love to see you with him. Like, I think it'll be really fun. We'll just throw in another visit. We'll see who else is there too. So we play. He's like grown already a bunch. And Matt is clearly delighted. It's just delightful, like delight, keyword, delight, keyword, delight. And it was like, God damn it. I don't know the first fucking thing about a puppy. What? And so I go home and I'm like, I feel sick. I want to throw up. Matt's like, talk to me. And I'm like, ugh, like, ugh. It's so like bodily, just like, I feel sick. I think I want that puppy, but I don't want a puppy. And I'm just like ill feeling into this. And he's like, I think you should talk to Buddy. So I talked to Buddy, and Buddy showed me a picture of this dog as an adult, this like wise, mature, wolfy dog with blue eyes. And I feel teary. And he basically was saying to trust myself, that I'm not the younger me who was like really awkward with dogs and like scared of dogs and like didn't have authority and didn't know how to be the one who like set the schedule and created order and created boundaries and created a system and was like, I'm in charge, What was great about Buddy is he was just so naturally submissive that training was just easy. It was like not hard at all. I didn't really have to do much because he just took to it. And that was so amazing. It showed me I can do this. And Buddy was basically like inviting me not to be afraid of my own authority. And not to pick a dog because I'm afraid that only a super, super submissive dog will be what I can do, because that's not desire-led. So basically, I decided that I was going to take the week to get educated in puppies and talk to the trainer from when I worked with Buddy and her. And then he was gone. That he wasn't on the website anymore the next day. And I was like, oh, well, okay. Starting over. But now, puppies can be on the table. And like so much of what I was feeling, and y'all, I'm telling this story, but it's all like, this is all what I've learned as a magical person and as a creative person, as an entrepreneur and a space holder and a business artist for magic. What I saw is that my desire is going to be work, and that what's terrifying to me is being the person who shows up for that work in order to create a home for my desire to live. And this is really fascinating because we live in a culture where we shame desires as selfish, or we shame them as being lazy, that doing what you want is lazy. But that is not true. No, that is not true. Creating a home for your desires to live is work, because we create the scaffolding and the angles and the systems to ground that desire into form and give it a place to thrive. And we have to show up as the authority of that growth process. And we are the ones who do it. Like, we are the ones that we're showing up for. We are the ones who are willing it into being, guiding it into being. That doesn't mean we aren't supported, but we're the ones. And so what I was realizing is like, oh my gosh, it's like terrifying to behold the me on that timeline that insists that this is what I want and this is what I'm willing into being, is this this very different blue-eyed wolf dog who I'm in telepathic sync with. and from puppyhood and moving all through that. So, wow. Yeah. Like it just happened that, Matt was like, he's not adopted. I just know it. They're just fostering him for a few days and he's going to be back. And it was like, I'm not thinking about it. And sure enough, he came back. Matt checked because he had this sense. And he checked because I said last weekend, oh, I had this wild dream last night. Somebody gave me this baby, and this baby was very scary, and I was very nervous about being in charge of this baby, because it was like a powerful baby who had opinions and like could be out of control, and I was kind of terrified of this baby. But then once I got to be in charge of the baby was amazing, and it was like so fun to be the one that was responsible for this baby. And I was like, Matt, I think that my dream was about a dog. What do you think? And that's when he's like, ding, I'm going to go check to see if that dog is back. And sure enough, the puppy was back. So it all then happened very quickly from there. There was no time for preparation. There was no time for getting informed. There was no time for getting all my shit together and listening to 5,000 podcasts and watching 100 million videos so that I could feel completely sure that I was ready. No. I mean, the chaos of bringing him home and like not having anything ready to go and not having done this before. So, it was this opportunity for me to also find out how desire initiates us to reconfigure ourselves, to transform ourselves into the person that holds that timeline of where our desires are pummeling us. And I needed support. Like my 18-year-old, she wasn't sure she was ready for another dog, but she saw him and like could visualize the whole thing and was super excited that he wasn't like Buddy, that he didn't look like Buddy, and that this experience would be very different for her. She's a very sensitive animal lover, and she was like ready to go with me. And then as I started to be like, I don't know that I can do this. I don't know that I can do this. I don't know that I can do this. She just like was like, Mom, I'm going to help you. And she just like got on the websites. We started to watch videos. We saw like, okay, we need a playpen to go around the crate. Like, here's the order. We just follow this order. She's like, okay, and she just walked through it with me and helped me see how we could do this. And, Matt came over and he's like helping me get a little time away so I can think and I can like ground, come back into my power, come back into my tools so that I can like trust myself to be the person that is completely reconfiguring. Because there were these moments where I was like, I don't understand, like, how am I going to be able to hold my business? How am I going to be able to do all these things? How am I going to meet my obligations? How am I going to, just because in an instant, my entire life just got turned upside down. And it was like, oh my God, how am I going to do what I do if I have to take care of this animal, I mean, I just feel like I've been through a lifetime in the last few days. I was like getting migraines because I didn't sleep the first night at all. But then like everything just started to settle. Once I got support, I had my team, my human team supporting me, reaffirming my power, talking to Natasha, reaffirming my power, helping me uncouple from the inner parts of me that were like telling me to jump and get rid of this animal. I was calling on Buddy. I was calling on my guides to help me. And it just, the energy just shifted. And, our routine is coming into form and we're doing this. And I woke up in the middle of the night 2 nights ago, hearing the words like, when you decide to live the timeline of your desire, you live the timeline of your desire. It was like, I mean, it's, in a way, it's like obvious, but when you're living unsure that you're going to hold that timeline, when you can't see the timeline because you're merged with a timeline of chaos or a timeline of disempowerment or a timeline of failure, when you believe in that timeline, you can't see the desired timeline. It's like not forming. It's not scaffolding. There are no tracks being laid down for the timeline of desire if all you can see is timeline of failure, timeline of impossible, timeline of scarcity. And I feel that in the 2025 reality that we have, where there are lots of external things that are designed to put us into timelines of disempowerment, timelines of despair, timelines of chaos, timelines of confusion, then it's really just more and more up to us to insist on timelines of desire and also get the support that we need to help us stay to it. It's both. It's an internal scaffolding inside of trusting that you're there with yourself. And it's the external scaffolding of the resources of support that you know that you have and that you can count on. To help you trust that the timeline you desire is the timeline you can choose to live. You can choose to live the timeline of your desires, and it's terrifying because it means that it's like on you to show up as the person that is laying down that timeline and showing up to what it needs from you in order to create the angles and the scaffolding to exist on Shaming Saturn. And so that's some powerful choice there, you know? Choice is privilege. And my invitation for all my containers, and especially the Magician's Table, is to ask yourself if this is a desire that wants a timeline from you. If fear is there, if I don't know that I can do it there, that's okay, because it is scary to show up for our desired timeline. It is. It's frightening. It invites us to mutate. It invites us to reconfigure ourselves. It invites us to drop stories of disempowerment or past failure. It's just so fascinating how the Venusian and the Saturnian work together to help us create lives from desire. And how relational it is. The relationship you have with yourself is at least as important as the relationship that you have to human and non-human around you. All of it matters because it's an internal scaffolding and an external scaffolding. So the Magician's Table is ultimately, it's many, many, many things, but it feels ultimately to be a space to mutate into a version of you with more internal and external scaffolding that you can trust on to hold to your desire timeline. which is going to be a magical timeline because our desires are magical. They are the compass for a life full of delight and synchronicity and wonder. But they're also very high sensation, which means we cultivate capacity for that as we go. And we do that in community in the Magician's Table. So the Magician's Table course page is now available. And the theme this year is the devotions that are driving you, which is also the desires that are driving you. And the 3 human beings that I have asked to be 13th readers this year are all individuals that I witness year after year who are showing up from that desire place that is deeply devotional again and again and again and again. You feel the deep, deep, deep rooted, can't walk away, have to stay with it passion that is holding their personal practice, their service, their creativity, their space holding, their inspirational speech out into this world. So then the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing one-on-one podcasts with each of them where they tell the story of the desires and the devotions that are driving them and how this supports their internal scaffolding and their external scaffolding, their ecosystems, how their internal processes support the worlds around them. Because that's what we're doing here in 2025, is really getting into the internal and external scaffolding of our ecosystems where desire is cherished, where dreams are supported, where we are cheerleading one another no matter what else is going on in the larger world, where we feel that sense of resourcing, even in catastrophe, even in scary astrology, even in this intense political situation in the United States of America. So, we are forging internal and external bonds together to commit to the timelines of empowerment that we're dreaming and desiring into being, so that we can then be people who are holding that desire frequency with stakes in the ground, palpably emitting this frequency into our own ecosystems as vibrations, as signposts, as signals where power is, where love is, where desire is unshamed, where playfulness exists, where curiosity exists, where experimentation exists. Disruption exists. This is extremely disruptive, what we do in the Magician's Table. So there's that. Let me just give you a little bit of information, like logistically dealing with calendars and so forth, so that you can come into your own decision around this. So the alumni community is getting a very special discounted price when they apply through January 31. That process will take some of the seats that are available for the alums to be able to get first dibs. Then there's going to be an early bird weekend where applications will become available to apply at a discounted price. That weekend is Valentine's weekend, February 14, 15, and 16. The only way to get the discounted early bird pricing is to be on the Magician's Table waitlist. The waitlist is not an obligation. You don't have to apply when you put yourself on the waitlist, but it is the only way to get the link to apply for the discounted early bird pricing. So all the buttons on the course page right now are just for you to get on the wait list. And then once you're on the wait list, you'll get an automated email like, you're on the wait list, here's the program. And then the week before I send you the link on the 14th at 10 a.m. Central to begin applying, that week, like Monday, I will send you the application questions so that you have all week to write a little bit every day and prepare your application so you're not like freaking out about getting it in and filling it all out within like an hour on the Friday the 14th. So then once you get the link at 10 a.m. Central on February 14th, because you're on the wait list, and this is also the only way to apply for a scholarship, is if you do it through the wait list. That particular weekend is the only way to get a scholarship. Then I will begin going through them on Monday the 15th after the application window has closed. So they'll all come pouring in the 14th, 15th, and 16th of February. And then I'll start moving through them in the order received, like placing people in their desired cohort time and letting people know and giving them the deadline to actually finish the enrollment process to secure their spot. So in the past, of the 4 years that I've done this, 2 of those years, the space filled within 1, 2, or 3 days of me opening the doors. The other 2 years, I had open doors and didn't do a condensed thing like this. And that ended up, I was still taking people till right before we began. So I'm doing this to encourage early applications. I'm doing this early bird weekend to encourage, just get yourself in. Your body then has an entire month to acclimate to the desired timeline that you've initiated. Because we start right before the equinox and it's a spring offering. It goes all spring. We close the day before the summer solstice. So when you apply early bird, not only do you get a discount and you can apply for scholarships, you also get to pick the 13th reader that you want to work with and the cohort time that you want to have, because the way it works is that the mandatory cohort meetings are led by the 13th readers, and each of them has different times. One of our 13th readers, who you'll be meeting soon, and you can learn about at the course page, is living in Malaysia. So the times are very much, there's times for people all over the world. You should be, no matter where you live in the world, because Magician's Table has from the very beginning had people on different continents. No matter where you live, you should be able to find a cohort that will work for you. So applying early gets you the discount. It allows you to apply for scholarship if you're eligible. It allows you to pick the 13th reader, name the preference for day and time that you most want, and get that secured. And then it allows your nervous system an entire month to relax. You can get it into the calendar. You can let everyone in your family, ecosystem, worlds know, I'm doing this. I'm going to need extra support. You can really lay down the tracks for a rooted, grounded experience while you do this. And it also just secures that you can do this, because it's possible that it will fill, or it's possible that certain cohorts will fill, and that then there will only be spots in 1 or 2 cohorts. And so you would have to work with those times. So really, 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 really inviting you, if you are inspired, if you've been looking at this a long time, maybe you've never heard of the Magician's Table, but you're wanting to know what the hell is this? Because I haven't really told you that much about it. It's a very, very long course page because it's a very unique offering. I don't know anything that's like this. I've never seen anything like this offered. So you can't make assumptions about what it is until you actually go through it very carefully and learn about what happens and learn about what the structure is, because the structure is what holds all of the wildness. It's a very Aquarian space. It was conceived of and first laid down into reality during Saturn-Uranus square, when Saturn was in Aquarius and Uranus is in Taurus, and they were squaring. So it's always had a very Uranian and Aquarian energy to it. So it really needs a strong structure, which it has. Like, the structure itself is what holds it. We show up to the structure. And so it's important to understand that structure and decide if, like, it smells good to you or it doesn't smell good to you. It's like yuck or yum, you know? And sometimes folks come in and they don't know that they like the structure. Like, it can take people a while to like it. And sometimes people love it from the very beginning and they're like, oh, my whole system relaxes because the structure's here. But by the end, like, nobody got what they thought they were going to get. This is not a place for assumptions. This is not a place for presumptions. This is not a place for expectations about your magic, because that's how Uranian it is. Like, everybody gets something and it's not what they expected, but it's a treasure. It's a treasure of an experience. You do it for the experience. Yes, you do it for who you become and who you then like you get it to get on the timeline of who you're becoming. Like, it helps you like rapidly get on that timeline. And then now you're on that timeline the rest of your life, you know? But it's also an experience in itself to treasure. It's intensive because you can't take a week off for a whole season. That's how it solidifies the new timeline. But, you know, then when it's over, it's over. And there's grief to that, because it's like such a unique experience that you can't ever get back to it, right? Like, you have the effects of it. You have the new friendships, you have the memories, you have who you are now. But it's also a treasure when you're in it, because you're in the experience and it's unfolding before your eyes week after week after week after week, surprising you, challenging you, delighting you, expanding you, contracting you, rebirthing you, mutating you, reconfiguring who you think you are in this world. Super fucking powerful. Okay, so it's a big commitment. You know, so it's going to involve some fear, you know, like, everybody comes in afraid because there's so much unknown, you know, the unknown of like, who the fuck am I going to be when this is over? You can't control that. There's no guarantees. And it's actually the harder, the more you try to insist that it go a certain way. You know, there's a lot of surrender inside of the intensity of the responsibility. So, but you're doing that together. You do it together. You're not alone. That's the thing, is you see how not alone you are. And you're like holding your own personal experience, but everybody's also having their own personal experience. So there's so much compassion and humor, you know, and, you know, this conspiring together to build worlds together through one's own personal mutation. It's so fucking powerful. It is like a fractal for life, for magical living, empowering living, disruptive living, with your magical community. And it's a very web effect of a place, because everybody's like connected at some level. And you sense that once you get there, of like, oh my gosh, there's like this deep connection, but yet everybody's very different and coming from completely different backgrounds, and they're not alike each person's very different. That's how it's Aquarian. Each person's very different, but there's a shared frequency. So it's like got this 11th house quality of like being in the spirit of the frequency of your hopes and dreams for this world. That doesn't mean that every single person you're going to want to like have over for dinner and like learn all about them, you know, or like take vacations with them. But there will be people that you do want to bring into your 7th house, you know, and invite them into your deeper bonds. You know, participants, they go visit each other, they lead courses together, they collaborate together, they refer each other, they amplify each other, they uplift each other, they connect to others. And so it's extremely 11th house this way, is it boosts you so that your 10th house grows more expansively, grows more brightly, and is more delightful and enjoyable in your process. So your desire for that timeline is what is pummeling you through the door to Magician's Table, and then it's an initiation. It's an initiation that is going to ask a lot of you, and it also gives you so much. You will feel as resourced as you have ever felt in your life when you're inside this space. I'm saying that, and this is not hyperbole. So, no small thing. No fucking small thing. If you're curious, if you want this, if you don't know you want it, but you want the option to want it, please just get your name on the wait list. It is going to put you into like my mailing list, but you're probably there already. So you just join the wait list, and that way on Friday, the 14th of February, you will get a link that allows you to apply. You'll have those questions in advance. So you just drop in your answers that weekend. Try to do it on Friday so that your name is at the front, because I do it in the order received. If you're wondering, why do we have to apply? I have to check for resonance, and I have to check that you understand what this is. The only times I turn people down are when I can tell that the person doesn't really understand the time requirement or the fact that we're doing offerings here. I have a puppy that has now awoken. Oh my goodness. We're going to go outside. But I feel complete, actually. So I'm going to close and invite you to go check out the course page and stay in touch with this offering through the upcoming podcasts. It's such an honor to be the steward to this space, to be part of so many humans' magical journeys. There are some 70-something people that have now done it over the last few years. This year will be our biggest cohort ever because I want more and more of this frequency in the world. And I see what it does for the world. Not just for the human beings that come through, because I see it for them as well. It's so important to me. And I'm here. This is like the primary thing that I hold, in addition to my other containers. But it takes a lot of my energy and attention so that I can hold to the structure and be of support to the 13th readers who come through. All right, I'm gonna hang out with Visby now. Lots of love, and please reach out if you have any questions. Cheers.